time, then when you're home, we can go through this a second time and you'll be able to get it. Jay, you all done, bud? Thanks. All right, so let's go through each of these questions, make sure we have a really good understanding of them. And you will notice, look, you've seen my pretest before. You know the drill. Tomorrow's just, the one you just got today is gonna look just like this, and the one you get tomorrow is also going to look just like this, okay? So, number one, negative 16. Can someone explain to the class why that comes out to negative 16?
Negative number.
Nah, it's not a good explanation. Sam?
After you use the exponent to 2, you have to negate it.
Yeah, after you square it, then you have to negate it. Now, it does work out that there's a negative in front, but I don't like that way of looking at it. I like it looking at it as square it, then negate it. Okay, number 2 is 1. That should be the easiest question on the entire test. Anything except 0 to the 0 power is 1. Well, I gave the explanation here as to why this is positive 25. See, there is a negative number here, yet the answer is positive. And it's because it's negative 5 times negative 5, and that works out to 25. Okay, number 4, negative exponent.
Reciprocal, sir.
So 3 to the negative 2 is 1 over 3 to the positive 2. That's my reciprocal. And that's 1 plus a ninth, which is 1 and 1/9. Now, number 5 to me, get it.
Number 4, I think I timed it too many times because I got 1 over 1 over 27.
Yeah, you multiplied way too many. I have no idea why. So, here's the thing. Number 5 to me is a benchmark question on this test. We have been over this so many times. Originally, some people would have written negative 10 n to the 4th. This is not a multiplication question. This is just to combine like terms. Some people would write negative 7 n to the 4th. You're getting closer, but you're not there. When I combine like terms, we've said this before. Kevin, you with me here, bud? Let's look here. If I add shirts and shirts, what do I get? Shirts. I bought my son some shirts for his birthday. Jimmy's, Mr. Link was to you, is subbing for Miss Lau today across the hall over there. So I bought him some Duck Commander shirts
What's that?
for his birthday. Duck Dynasty? Those guys, well, Duck Commander is the hunting edge that brought the show about. So, if you add Duck Commander shirts and Duck Commander shirts, what do you get? Duck Commander shirts. So if I add n squareds and n squareds, or if I combine n squareds and n squareds, what do I get?
Combined and squared.
N squareds, yeah. So, and negative 5 and negative 2, 5 little negatives and 2 more little negatives make what? 7 little negatives. So negative 7 n squared. This one is one that you guys are getting right almost all the time. Almost everybody, almost all the time. Michael, Jimmy, head in the game here because this easy one, easy place to pick up points. When I raise a power to a power, I multiply. So that's d to the 21. On this one, you got to make sure you square both things. 8 squared is 64, and then power to a power, x to the 10th. Here we multiply coefficients, 20, add exponents, n to the 11, m to the 3rd. And here we divide coefficients and subtract exponents. Now, we have been through questions like numbers 1 through 9. This will be the 3rd test. And aren't they on every homework? So by this point in time, you should be looking at those first 9 questions saying, all right, maybe I'll make a stupid mistake once, if it's a really, really bad day twice, but you should get all 9 right. So those are like easy points on the test. You should be happy that they're going to be there. Okay. Section 2, scientific notation. Well, this is 5.1 times 10 to the negative 7. So we have to move it, since it's negative, to the right, 7 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 puts it right there, which is between the 5 and the 1, and that's where I want it. No, yeah, you know what, thank you for bringing that up. You know what I see some people do on their answer spaces? It's a really big mistake to not repeat. Some people put a point here and a point between the 5 and the 1. No. No number has 2 decimals, all right? It's just 0.005 1.
I actually didn't put the decimal next to the 0 and then put it between 5.1.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be right, because if I don't have that decimal in the beginning, I'm not moving it that number of places. Product here, product means multiply, that's 25 times 10 to the 8, adding 11 and negative 3. And you guys are really good at making that adjustment to 2.5 times 10 to the 9th. If I divide by 10 here, I have to multiply by 10 there. Number 12, you know, when you look at this, there's a few different ways to look at a question like this that's multiple choice, but one of my favorite techniques that I like to do when I look at multiple choice is just give a quick look for something obvious. And as you look at these choices, isn't it obvious that only one of these is going to be negative?
Yep.
Yeah. The one that's going to be negative is right here. So how could a negative number ever equal a positive number like 1/16 over here?
Exactly.
It can't. There you go. So that means that the correct answer has to be choice C. All right, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is there anybody here who feels that anything so far that's going to be on the test is unfair? Haven't we been over this a bunch?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm confident that you should do well. And remember, yesterday we started off class and we talked about the idea of relearn packets and the fact that you're not going to be able to complete a relearn packet on this before the end of the market period to affect your grade. And we also talked about how in this class, math is not the most important thing that you're going to do. The most important thing that you're going to do in this class, other than things of outside school nature, is to learn how to learn, to become a better learner, to learn how to prepare. So what I'm hoping is that you kind of relearn before the test, if you will, prior learn. Anticipate your mistakes. Know the kinds of questions that you've been having some difficulty with. And now, when you walk into the test, you prepare as thoroughly as if you just finished a relearn packet. And you know what? Listen, your relearn packets, all I do is copy and paste the stuff from your pretests in there. So when you go through your relearn packet and you're like, oh, I get it now. I got a 60 on my first one, and then I get an 80 on my relearn packet. Well, if you would have paid attention to the pretest stuff, it's the same exact questions. You probably would have gotten 80 on the real test. So I'm giving you 3 pretests before this test. If you take them as seriously as you take a relearn packet, and you look for the kinds of things you did wrong, and you look for someone who knows what they're doing, be it me or Mr. Friend or another teacher in the building or a friend of yours who's really strong at this, and you approach those pretests as seriously as you approach your relearn packet, then your grades will be really good. Remember what I read as the retest grades from the last time?
Yeah.
They were all like 80s and 90s, hundreds even, okay? Put that kind of focus and effort into this, and your grade's gonna go up a bunch just because of that, let alone anything else. Okay, so we've just determined through the first 12 questions, there's nothing that should be considered difficult. And now we get to number 13, and this one I do think is challenging, okay? Container of water has 2 times 10 to the 15th molecules of water in it. That water is divided into 8 times 10 to the 4th smaller containers. So since I know it's going to be division, I come over here and I immediately draw my division line. Now, it's being divided into this many small containers, so that number has to go on the bottom, and this is your top number right here. Now it becomes a matter of, as it says, be sure. When I write the words be sure in the instructions, that means danger, danger, danger. Gotta be careful here to express your number in scientific notation. Now the big mistakes that I see here, first off, we are nailing the 10 to the 11th part of this. We're great at that. But the big mistake I see is I see people, if this says 2 over 8, 2 over 8 is not 8 over 2. And I see lots of people writing 4 times 10 to the 11th. No. 2 divided by 8 is this. Mr. Friend would say that it's like a teapot and you gotta tip it over this way so the 2 goes inside. 8 does not go into 2, so I gotta add decimals. 8 goes into 20 twice, bring up my decimal heavy and dark, make it a mark. So bring it down 4 and 0, it goes into 45 times. So that's where I get my 0.25 from. But we still have a problem. That's why this question's involved. We still have a problem because 0.25 is not between 1 and 10. So I have to multiply by 10, and then to balance it, I need to divide by 10. So ultimately, to get it into scientific notation, I have to write 2.5 times 10 to the 10. Any questions? You should be paying more attention to this, right? You're on the cusp of having the best math test of your life on Friday. You got a 1. Angelina, you got a 1. Tell me you won. That's bad. I want it! I want it! Come on, let me hear it. No, that's lame. I want it! I want it. Two chocolate chip cookies, back to back, double dunked. Wait till the bubbles stop. Catch it in there, suck that milk out. Put the cookie back in the cup. And then, pleasure of the cookie. Can you imagine when you get the highest math grade of your life? Can you imagine the feeling of success? You can't doodle and get it. If you doodle, it's like saying, you gotta want it! All
Did
right.
your son do this?
What's that?
I said, did your son do this?
Do what? Does my son do what?
Well, you just did.
What? Have
That was absurd.
Being
passion? It's absurd!
obscene.
No, it certainly wasn't obscene. And it wasn't absurd either. It was passion. It was wanting to excel. Don't you want to be great? Or do you like go around your whole life going, hi, my name's Angelina. I'm mediocre.
That's what I do.
Hi, I'm Angelina. I'm average. Hi, Angelina. I'm your average Joe. Hi, I'm Andrew Joe. Average, mediocre kind of guy. Or do you say, no man, I'm the Angelina. I'd be the best. That's what we're looking for, yes.
Exactly.
Whenever we get problems like this, I always get confused with the top and the bottom. I end up putting the baby inside to the outside because I always thought it
Here, listen, I don't have a good way to do this. I really don't, because it's elementary school stuff, and I don't want to sound like a snot, but I've never learned tricks for elementary. I can tell you the only one I've ever heard was from Mr. Friend. And Coach Friend would say this, look, he says it's like the teapot. And what you do is, like this, the top of the teapot up here, right? You know, teapot would look like this.
That's weird.
Right? Or a duck. So it looks kind of like a teapot. He says if you're gonna pour the teapot, you turn this way, right? You would turn the teapot this way, right? So turn it this way. When you turn it this way, the 2 lands first, and then the 8's like the handle on it.
so the top goes in, the bottom goes
Yes,
out.
yes. And that's how he taught me. All right? So I'm terrible at this stuff. I just know. All right? And I apologize for such a lame explanation. But it's the best I can do. Okay, notice that. Notice, I didn't say, Angelina, oh, I don't know how to do it, so I ain't answering your question. I said, look, this is the best I can do.
That's what I do.
All right?
It's just guess.
You know what? Do you know what I will do for you? And only you. I will not do this for anybody else in the class, though they may benefit from this.
Wow.
If you can get a 70 or higher on your test, is that a fair goal? Bob Lindquist.
Give you Adam cracker.
No, I will bake chocolate chip cookies
It's Robert.
and fill that cup, or that container with chocolate chip cookies, and I will give you the first 3. Then I'll reward others who improve and do well also.
Hello.
Possibilities.
You can't bribe me.
Possibilities. Oh, yes, I could.
You can't.
Oh, you're such a liar. What's your favorite thing on the face of the earth? Video games?
Maybe.
Okay, $500 gift certificate to do anything you want with video games. Would you get a 70 on your test? I just
No.
bribed you. Oh, you lie like a rug. I absolutely would.
What is a
Okay.
rug lie? It's not medical.
It lies
it
on the
lies
ground
all
all the
around.
time, 24 hours a day, 24/7.
I get my own.
Okay, what do I have to buy you? All right. You know, it's so funny. Guys, listen, on a serious side, I go to these, listen, Angelina, you were at the library last night. Uni, you were at the library last night. How mobbed was the library? Rita was there. You kind of left, it was mobbed. There was 20 or more people there last
I
night.
was there.
Now, first off, that's a huge credit to you guys. That is a huge credit to you guys. However, if you bring that kind of drive and that kind of passion every day to seeing yourself become the best you can be, you are going to kick some serious math butt. All right? You're going to be so good at it. It's unbelievable. Yes?
I don't need your money. I got paychecks coming in.
Yeah, there you go. You know what, I like the attitude, I really do.
So if
I
I
think
come in
that's
here-
how everybody should feel.
If I come in
I don't
here-
need your money, I'll take care of
Sure.
it. We have a whole segment of the country who doesn't feel that way. Yes,
So if I come in here hyped on Friday, I won't get in trouble?
I'm not even gonna be in the room,
Why not?
because I have, I have my knee replacement coming up November 24th.
Yeah.
All right, as part of getting a big surgery like that, they make you get your heart checked out, and they make you I have to actually get my teeth checked out. So tonight I'm going to the dentist. I'm gonna get my teeth cleaned, and they're gonna make sure I have no infections in my mouth. Apparently, if you get your knee replaced and you get an infection, the infection settles where they cut your knee out and put the metal in.
That's terrific.
So I have to get clearance that my mouth has no infections. I have to get a stress test to make sure that my heart is strong, which it is, so I'm not worried about it. And I have to get a sonogram to make sure of something else with my heart.
You're not pregnant.
And, no, definitely not pregnant. So the bottom line is I have to go through these tests, and originally, I was going to take the test on Saturday morning. And I purposely scheduled all of these tests for when it was not school. And they called me a couple of days ago and they said, the Saturday is out, you can't do it. So when is it gonna be? And it has to be tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 is my stress test. So I have to do it, I don't have a choice. If I don't take that stress test, then I don't get my surgery. And I want the surgery, so I gotta do what I gotta do. So I won't be here the second half of tomorrow. The first half I'll be here with you guys, but I won't be here the second half of tomorrow. Okay, so let's take a look at these equations now, and we go through these step by step. And let's make sure, as you look at your paper, that you're doing the right kind of steps here. Uni, this is what we worked so much on last night. And I think you're gonna do really, really well, but let's follow along on your work and make sure it follows. Ready? If I distribute the 5, I get 5W minus 15, plus the W, God bless, equals 27. Now, once I distribute the 5, is this a same side situation or an opposite side situation? Same side, nice. Mike, you're getting really good at this. 5 W's and another W all together, 6W, right? Gluck, do not look down, look up. Listen, Kevin, I am telling you that 2 weeks ago, Michael was writing the same exact kind of stuff on his quiz questions with equations as you are. And now Michael's he's taking a step forward, he's doing a whole lot better. So you can do this too, and it's not me proving it, it's Michael proving it. Okay, and Jimmy, you gotta pay attention here too. Because he's starting to step it up a little bit, and you're getting a little bit better, but he's getting better faster than you are. Now, 6W minus 15 is 27, add 15 to both sides, divide by 6, W is 7. Okay? Any question on that? I know I went quickly, but the answers are sitting there for you to read. Uni, how'd you do on that one? Now, this was before we worked at the library, so I don't expect that you got it right. But I do expect that now that you look at it, you can see where I was going with it. Right? Hey,
Yeah.
what are you getting her attention for? You with me on that? Okay. Next up. Is this the same side situation or an opposite side situation? Opposite. So now, because the ends are on opposite sides of that equal sign, I do minus n, because it's the opposite of plus n. Remember, this n is positive. This negative sign has nothing to do with the n. The negative sign belongs to the 1. Just like we say Mr. Lindquist and Mrs. Lindquist, I look in front of Lindquist to see boy or girl. Over here, I look in front of the 1. The 1's negative, the n is positive, so I do opposite, minus n. God bless. 3n minus 7 is negative 1. Add 7 to both sides, divide by 3, n is 2. Again, we've done a lot of these. I know I'm going quick, but I want to get to some other stuff. Any questions on these two? All right. So then we go to, and notice what I'm giving you is basically every type of question imaginable. Next one. This is same side situation or an opposite side situation? Same side. So I add up all of my n's and I get 5n. The thing that we need to be better at as a class is recognizing that not only can the n's be combined, because it's same side, but so can the numbers here. And the two mistakes I see, one mistake I see is kids will take 2 steps. They'll do minus 3, then they'll do plus 1. I say mistake, it's not necessarily a mistake, because you could do that and get it correct. But it's taking a little longer than necessary. It's an extra step. But the big mistake I see here is I see kids doing -1 and +3 and putting -2 here. When you're combining like terms and those signs are opposite, you're always going to keep the sign with the bigger number, because the bigger number is always going to have the longer list. Those wipe each other out, you take them away, I'm left with a +2, and there's my +2. Now, once I get to this step right here, this is a standard two-stepper. It's sending the ground troops. -2 divided by 5, n equals 2. Now, letter D. Muy importante. Letter D. I distribute to 5. I distribute to 2. I get 10x minus 10 equals 10x plus 2. I subtract 10x from both sides, and I come out with this ridiculous statement. -2 equals 10. -2 never equals 10. It's impossible. So you're actually expected to write on your paper that there are no solutions. I want to see you write that there. What would happen if instead of -10 equals 2, I had 2 equals 2? Then what would I write? There's infinite solutions. Any number works. Every number works. Okay? All right. Now, did we, you know what, I'm having an absolute brain cramp right here. Did we do ones like this?
Yeah.
We did do, okay, all right, so no problem, we'll go through it here. Look, when it says to solve 4x, 4x means you have to make it say x equals. And you just follow the same steps. That says -3b, so you do plus 3b. 2y plus 3b is mx. Then I divide by m because the m was being multiplied by x. I divide by m here. And just leave your answer like this. That's it, you're done. You know, it looks complicated, but it's really not. It's the same exact steps, and in some ways, it's actually easier. The thing that makes it easier is, remember before I said you had a -1 and a +3, and lots of kids are putting -2? The answer should have been +2. When you have something like this, you never need to you can't make a sloppy mistake, because you don't do anything. You don't actually try to add. You just write 2y plus 3b over m. You don't do anything. What's that? Because this said -3b, I have to do the opposite, which is plus 3b. Okay? So just do the steps right, you'll be in good shape. Yeah?
Can you get it, can you still get it wrong if you, the letters, you put them in the wrong spot?
Depends, like if you, for argument's sake, wrote 3b plus 2y, that would be fine.
I mean, like, you put X instead of M in the bottom, like.
If you switch anything on the top with the bottom, you would be wrong. And since it says 4x, you have to leave the x where it is, so it says x equals. If you, for some reason, put an x down here, you're gonna be wrong. Okay? Yeah, you definitely don't wanna do that. All right, so the next thing we do is a word problem. And we've been working on a number of these in class lately. If we read through this quickly, remember the first thing I always asked you, every time we read a word problem, is to read it once. 2 more than 5 times the number is 37, find the number. And then I always said, how many numbers are in the problem? How many are there?
3.
How many, no, that the problem's talking about? Do they want 1 number, 2 numbers, 3 numbers, 4 numbers? How many numbers? Fernando? 1 number. It says specifically at the end, what? Find the number. Therefore, there's 1 number. So I don't need a table. That's the big thing. If it talks about 2 numbers or 3 numbers, then I need tables. This I don't. So I just go 2 more than, 5 times the number, more than and less than, switch the order. So, last shall be first, first shall be last. 5n plus 2 is 37, minus the 2, divide by 5, n is 7. Okay? That's easier than the quiz question that we did well on. Now, juxtapose that with the next question, number 17, which talks about consecutive integers. It says the sum of 3 consecutive integers is 33. Now, find largest integer. So how many numbers are in this problem? 3. The reason I know, boys, that there are 3 in this problem is it says 3 consecutive integers, find the largest integer. So I write first consecutive integer, second consecutive integer, third consecutive integer. If you wanted to put that all in a table, you could. All right, I just didn't write a table this time, but you could put it all in a table just like that. That would be fine. Or you could have left it the way I did. Either way, whatever floats your boat. So then over here, I write first one plus second one plus third one. Well, it says there, the first one's n. So I take the n and I put it there. The second one is n plus 1. The third one's n plus 2. I put it right there. Now I just have an equation to solve, and it's the same side situation. 1n plus another n plus another n is 3 n's. 1 and 2 is 3. And just solve the equation. So I come up with n equals 10. Now, as I used these pieces of information, I should cross them off. It says right here, find the largest integer. 10 is not the largest integer. 10 is the first integer. Then there's 11, and then there's 12. So you'll notice I wrote that the largest integer is 12. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Let's try the next one. This is just like your quiz question. Ready? One number is one less than twice another number. The sum of the numbers is 41. Find both numbers. Notice how many numbers are in this problem? 2. So I set up my table, first number, second number, and here is the one thing that we've had a little bit of a problem with on the quiz. If the first number is x, which is what we always let it be, x and whatever, the second number will be 1 less than. There's that more than less than thing, so I have to switch order. Last shall be first. 2x, twice the number, minus 1, 1 less. So 2x minus 1. And then I come over here, and it says specifically that the what of the numbers?
Sum.
The sum of the numbers. So I got to take my first number and my second number, and I have to add them. Same side, 3x minus 1 is 41. Add 1 to both sides, divide by 3, x is 14. So I come over here, I put my 14, and then 2 times 14 minus 1 is 27. 14 and 27 are the 2 numbers. Okay? Now, just like I said that, like the first, whatever it was, 13 or 14 questions were pretty easy and you've seen many, many times, we're now getting into ones that are a little more challenging. And to be truly prepared for this test, you're going to have to put time in. As I go through this work, if you're like, I'm not sure if I understand this, you really need to go home tonight and watch the video. That's the great thing about the resource. Oh, how I wish such a thing would have existed when I was in school. Because that means that every time there was something that gave me a difficulty or a hard time, I could have went home, I could have watched a video of what we did in class, and that would have given me a second or third chance, if necessary, to understand it. All right, I believe this is the last question on the test now. What's the area of a rectangle whose length is 2 more than 3 times the width and whose perimeter is 1/16? It's a tricky question. Okay? The thing that makes this so tricky is, in the end, it says, what is the area? Well, first off, what's the shape in this problem? Rectangle. So the first thing I want to do is draw my rectangle. Remember, anytime there's shapes, we don't put up a table, we just draw the figure. And then it says that the length is 2 more than 3 times the width. Boy, do you notice this more than and less than stuff keeps creeping up? Okay? 2 more than 3 times the width. Remember to switch the order. So if I let the width be w, then the length is 2 more than 3 times the width, so that's 3w plus 2. And what does perimeter mean again, guys? Hey, what's perimeter mean? Add up both sides, right? That's it. So I add them all up. I do this guy, there it is. This guy, there it is. This guy, oh, there it is. This guy, oh, there it is. Right there, and I start adding them up. This is the same side situation. That's 8w plus 4 is 116. Once you get the equation written out, we can run with it. We know if it's same side. We know if it's opposite side. We spent quite a bit of time getting good on those equations. So this is 8w plus 4 is 116. Opposite side, opposite operation. Subtract the 4w. Divide, I get 14. Here's the tricky part. It didn't say what's the length and the width. It said what's the area. So if this is 14, I substitute it back in. 3 times 14 plus 2, well, that's 44. And then to get the area, I then have to do 44 times 14, which is 660. That is a very difficult question.
And that's hard.
What's that? I would call that the 100 buster. That one and also the solve for x1 with all the variables. Those 2 questions are particularly challenging. You're going to have to work very hard to be able to get those right. Okay, any other questions on yesterday's pretest? Okay, now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take a huge chance. Without saying a word, I think I'm going to take a huge chance. Without saying a word, show it by hand if you are serious about improving and doing well on the test before you take it and using this prep time to really step it up. Okay. I'm going to allow you to work in groups of 2 or 3 on today's sheet, but I don't want to hear anything that's not about your improving. Are we clear on that? And I don't want it to sound like I'm being a mean person. I want you to understand that it is within your grasp to improve, to step up. So for the rest of the period, you work together on this, and then tomorrow I'll give you the answers to it. Go ahead. If you want to get up and move your seat so that you can find somebody to work with, you can do that.
I don't know.